Yohannes.
Thank you very much. I'll try to squeeze myself into 5 minutes. There's much more happening in Tigray, has happened already. And great presentations, by the way, this morning. I do concur with Dr. Stanton about the UN reform. About Tigray, UN Security Council met more than 15 times without no tangible results, actually. So we do need reforms in the UN system. So that's one. The Tigray Genocide, there's a historical implication and importance, but I'm going to focus only on the 2 years genocidal war, which is between 2020 and 2022, which was a very consequential genocidal war against Tigrayans. And it was perpetrated essentially by the Ethiopian government in cooperation with the Eritrean government and forces from the Amhara region. Those are the main perpetrators, but there was complicit actors for sure. The government of Somalia, the government of the United Arab Emirates, especially in terms of delivery finance, and unfortunately the African Union. It was complicit to this one as well. So those are the actors. And I'm going to tell you statistics about what has happened in the 2-year genocide, and then I'll discuss a little bit about least discussed items as well. So between 2020 and 2022, more than 1 million. My friend mentioned 600,000. That was the initial number. More than 1 million civilians were perished in Tigray, most of them by direct assault, and the remaining due to lack of food and medication. More than 120 girls and women were gang raped. This is only the official results. And I'm sure the actual figure is much more than that one. And more than 70,000 Tigrayans were fleeing to Sudan for their lives, all right? And unfortunately, more than 87% of the Tigrayan health system has been destroyed, right? And factories, universities, utilities, telecommunications, everything in Tigray was grounded into an ash. The whole economy of Tigray region were destroyed, and more than 40% of the Tigray territory is still under occupation by Eritrea and then a neighboring Amhara forces. In a fair world, the Tigray genocide should have been the least case to be designated as a genocide. I always puzzled and asked myself what should have been done in Tigray so that the world could recognize genocide in Tigray. Much has been happened, but nothing has been happening again in the world. So the first whistle of the Tigray genocide was blown by no other than the Ethiopian Prime Minister itself. This is an important aspect showing that the Tigray genocide was not a collateral damage. It was a well-thought state plan by the government. In a televised speech, the Prime Minister himself had to say, if Tigray hold a regional election, youths will be killed, mothers will mourn, and houses will be destroyed. That's what he said, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, in a televised speech. And that time, then President of the Amhara neighboring region, his name is Agenyo Teshagar. Now he is the Speaker of the Ethiopian House of Federation. And he had to say in a public speech that the people of Tigray are enemies to Ethiopia. They were preparing the foundation, the ground to kill Tigrayans in a broad daylight. And the Prime Minister's Social Affairs advisor, his name is Daniel Kibret, again in a televised speech, he had to say the people of Tigray should not only be erased from the face of the earth, but they should be erased from the minds of Ethiopians. He had to say Ethiopia should not allow the revival of this people again. This is an official statement in Ethiopia. And this was concurred by the witness of a former Finland foreign minister, whose name is Ika Haavisto. In a statement and an interview with the CNN, he had to say Ethiopian officials told him that they were working hard to eliminate the people of Tigray from their regions. So this is very consequential and dynamic, but as I said earlier, nothing has happened. Meta or Facebook had to remove the Ethiopian Prime Minister's post because he labeled the people of Tigray as weeds to be uprooted. This is also very important. The other thing that I want to mention today is that in order to prepare the foundation, they were creating new levels of dehumanization to the people of Tigray. We know cockroach and those kind of dehumanization. In Tigray and in Ethiopia, they come up with new names. They say it in Amharic, Yek and Jib, which can be translated as daytime hyena and junta. Those were the labels that they give to the Ethiopian people. And essentially, there was a slogan in Ethiopia at that time, very popular slogan. In Amharic, it says, "አካባቢያችንን ከቆሻሻና ከጁንታ እናጽዳ," which literally means let's clean our neighborhood from garbage and junta, which connotes people of Tigray. Here, Tigrayans were labeled as garbage, which was endorsed by the government, which gives a free ride, not only to the security apparatus in Ethiopia, but to every Ethiopian citizen to kill and burn the people which were connoted as garbage in Ethiopia, which are the Tigrayans. This is very important. And this was the case in Mahabara Dego. We mentioned Mahabara Dego. This is one of the more than 300 massacre places in Tigray. And in that place, when the Ethiopian armed forces were killed unarmed youngsters of Tigrayans and throw them over the cliff, they were saying, "Kill the junta, kill the daytime hyena." All right? And they were shouting at some instances that, you know what? Don't waste your bullet. Just throw them over the cliff because they are not human beings. They are juntas. That's what they were saying. In the face of this, the world is not acting again now. And Neima El-Bagar, you know most of them. You know her. She's a CNN correspondent, international senior correspondent actually. She documented a very glaring evidence regarding the gang rape of Tigrayans. When armed forces from the neighboring region were forced to gang rape Tigrayans, they were saying, "We are cleansing your blood, so that you're not going to give a birth to Tigrayan, but only to an Amhara." And this was evidenced by the former United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. In his hearings, he just said that there was a ethnic cleansing in Western Tigray. But still, they are doing nothing, unfortunately. So Tigrayan origins, those are important things actually that I want to mention as well, because they are least discussed. The military, Tigrayans in the military and in the security forces throughout the country, they were sacked and then driven to concentration camps at that time. All Tigrayans in all echelons of the civil society, civil services, including myself, by the way, they were laid off forcefully and then told to stay home. This is very important. And Tigrayans were barred from their hard-earned money they kept in Ethiopian banks, all of them. And they were denied to get out of the country for essential and life-saving medical treatments. And Tigray was encircled. My friend Kidano was mentioning, Tigray was encircled 360 degrees. No access to medical aids, no access to humanitarian assistance, no access even to aid agencies, including the WHO. And importantly, the Ethiopian Postal Service, those are essential tenets of the genocide in Tigray. The Ethiopian Postal Service, they denied to receive delivery from Tigray and to Tigray. And the Ethiopian Notary Public denied authentication of Tigrayan documentations. That's very important. And the Ethiopian Athletics Federation, they expelled Tigray and Tigrayan athletics from any competition in the country. And Tigray was denied of access to COVID at that critical time. And Tigrayans throughout the country, they were subjects of arbitrary mass arrests as well in the country. And to your surprise, Addis Ababa University is the top university in the country. At some point, they threatened to revoke every educational credentials to Tigrayans in Ethiopia. So, in the face of this all, the people of Tigray are asking anything. Just get our recognition, and then we'll do what we want next. I thank you. I'll return.